Hi everyone, welcome to Acupressure Wednesday. It's Alexa at Encircle Acupuncture in Nashville. Thanks so much for joining us. We are doing our series about the emotions and traditional Chinese medicine, and today's topic is worry. And worry is related to the spleen and the digestion in traditional Chinese medicine. So that's what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about worry, we'll be talking a lot about the digestion, and we'll be doing some acupressure to help with all of that. So during this series about the emotions and traditional Chinese medicine, with each session I'm going to show you one general point that's good for any type of emotional balancing. There are a lot of great points to benefit the emotions. And then I'm also going to show you some specific points for the emotion of the week. So at the end of this series, you'll know lots of points that you can do on yourself for some emotional balancing. So thanks for joining us. This is a time of year that is emotional for a lot of people, and especially this year. So we wanted to just provide something that we thought would help all of you feel a little more calm and centered. So, like I said, today we'll be talking about worry, and worry in traditional Chinese medicine is related to the spleen and the earth element, and those elements are related to the digestion. So we'll be talking a lot about the digestion today too, the physical digestion and also the digestion of thoughts, feelings, your mental state, your emotional state. It's all about digesting and processing information and food. So when we talk about worry in traditional Chinese medicine, that also includes overthinking. That also includes studying, reading, any kind of mental activity that you need to really concentrate a lot of mental energy on relates to the spleen and the digestion. So we're going to start, before we start doing some points, we will do a couple of exercises to get ready for our session. So first of all, just start out seated, feet on the floor, nice comfortable seat. You want your spine to be neutral. Just get comfortable and take some deep breaths and just check in with your body and see how you're feeling. I'm going to close my eyes for a couple of breaths. You can close your eyes or you can keep them open, whatever you prefer, whatever's comfortable. And just check in with your body and see how you're feeling. Is your body trying to tell you anything or send you any signals today? And especially pay attention to your digestion, since we'll be talking about that today. Are you feeling hungry? Are you feeling full? Is your stomach making noises? Are you feeling bloated? Did you eat a good meal today or not? Just see how your digestion is feeling. Are you experiencing any heartburn? Anything related to the digestion, pay special attention to, and then we'll check back in at the end of the session. A couple more breaths. All right. For me, I'm feeling pretty good today, but I am a little hungry, so I'll probably eat something after this session is done. And my stomach is making a little bit of noise to let me know that it's ready for some more food. All right, next exercise we're going to do is just a gathering exercise. We're going to gather some qi that we will then direct during our session. So this gathering exercise you can do sitting or standing. I'm going to stand. Either way, you want your feet on the floor about hip width apart. If you're standing, a little bend in your knees. We don't want any locked knees. And you're going to inhale, bring your arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, you're going to turn your palms down and bring them to rest on your lower abdomen. Let's do that a few times. Inhale and exhale. And as you're doing this, you want to be gathering in the qi from your environment. So think about your surroundings. Everything is infused with qi, even just the air around you. So bring some of that in to you, because there's plenty to go around. And then we will direct that qi during the session. So the more that you can gather, then the more effective your acupressure session is going to be. One more breath. and rest your hands on your lower abdomen. That's your lower dantian, which is the center of energy. And now all that chi that we just gathered, we're going to direct that to our palms. So just rub your palms together nice and fast. All that chi we just gathered, just direct it out towards your palms. Get your palms nice and warm. All right, good. Okay, now we're ready to start with some acupressure. So, like I said, each week during this series, when we're talking about the emotions, I'm going to show you one general point for any type of emotional balancing, and then I'll show you some specific points for the emotion that we are working on, which today is worry. So the general point that I'm going to show you today is yin tang, and that is located between the eyebrows on the forehead. I should have said this up front, but you need to have clean hands because we're touching our faces. I just washed mine, but grab some hand sanitizer because this is a point on the face. We got to have clean hands when we touch our faces. So yin tang is located just right between the eyebrows here. And for massaging this point, you can rub it in circles. You can sort of massage upwards. You can use both of your fingers and massage outwards. There's a lot that you can do with this point. It's a very popular point for acupuncture at the clinic. A lot of patients request this point. It's very relaxing. So this point calms the shen, and the shen is the spirit in Chinese medicine. So when a person is stressed or they're having trouble sleeping or just feeling anxious, this point, yin tang, has a calming effect. This is also a really great point for the sinuses because it helps to clear out any fluid accumulation in the sinuses. So we do this point a lot in the clinic as well because lots of people have sinus problems, and yin tang helps to clear the sinuses. And really, yin tang is a great point for any type of clarity. So for clearing the sinuses physically, but it's also really great for mental clarity. So it clears out anything that's accumulated, whether it's phlegm and mucus that has accumulated in the sinuses, or accumulated thoughts and accumulated worries. And when you're just holding on to thoughts and can't let go, this is a great point for that. Or if there's just too much happening in your head and you just keep going from one thought to the next and can't focus, yin tang helps to clear out that mental clutter so that you can focus on one thing at a time, which is really important. So it's a wonderful point for that. It's also a great point to just give yourself a mental break. So if you've been studying a lot or reading or working on some important project and just thinking, overthinking, or worrying too much, give yourself a mental break. Just take a few minutes, step away from whatever you're doing, and just rub yin tang and breathe. You will feel so much better after you have done that. So this is really one of my favorite points for clarity. And as you'll see, yin tang also corresponds with the third eye, which a lot of people associate with insight and vision. So it helps with all of that. So this point is just really all about clarity and clearing mental clutter. Again, you can use it for any type of emotional imbalances or issues, but I really love this point for worry and overthinking because it's just like, it just kind of lets all that stuff go. It feels really great. All right, so that's yin tang. So now I'm going to show you some specific points for worry and the digestion. We'll be working on the spleen and the stomach channels. So the first point I'm going to show you is stomach 36. So worry is related to the spleen in traditional Chinese medicine. And the spleen, I almost fell off my chair. The spleen's partner is the stomach. So all of the organs have yin and yang partners, and the spleen and the stomach are yin and yang partners. And together they regulate the digestion. So the first point we're going to do is stomach 36, which is on the lower leg. So the way that we find stomach 36 is, here's your tibia right here, your big bone at the front of your shin. The spleen channel is on the medial side and the stomach channel is on the lateral side. So spleen is on the inside, stomach is on the outside. And stomach 36 is located here at the base of the tibia as it starts to flare up on the outside. An easy way to find this is just to trace your finger up along your tibia, and then as it starts to flare out like that at the top, your finger's going to naturally fall into a depression. You can also locate this point by finding, here's your patella, and then there are two depressions below that on either side. We call this the calf's nose. On the outside depression, you're going to measure from the width of your four fingers down, and approximately 4 fingers below is stomach 36. This is a good point to feel around and find a tender spot. It will be tender on almost everyone. It's tender on me right now for sure. I like to just rub this point in circles. And when you find that tender spot, give it some attention. You can just press too, that's fine. Or rub in circles, whatever feels good for you. So stomach 36 is one of the most important acupuncture points in the body. It strongly regulates the digestion, it tonifies the spleen and the stomach, and it's one of the most important tonification and strengthening points on the body. So it really strengthens everything, but it's especially good for the digestion. So the spleen, I'm going to show you on the other leg too. These points are all bilateral, so don't worry, which side you're on. You can just do them on both sides. So the spleen, the primary function of the spleen is what we call T&T, transformation and transportation. So here's the cow's nose right here, the nostril, the outside nostril. Just measure 4 fingers down, approximately on the outside of the tibia, and then just feel around for the tender spot. So yeah, transformation and transportation is the primary responsibility of the spleen. It transforms the food that we eat into vital nutrients, into usable qi for the rest of the body. And so it's important that the spleen is strong, because if your body is not getting the vital nutrients out of the food that you eat, then your body has a hard time doing all the other functions that it has to do. So the spleen is really important, and worry and overthinking will tax the spleen. It burdens the spleen. So then the spleen is having to do 2 jobs instead of just one. So the spleen has to digest food physically, and it also has to digest anything that we take in mentally. So if we're worrying and overthinking, that's burdening the spleen, and it's asking the spleen to do a lot. It's asking it to digest food and thoughts and emotions. And it's hard for the spleen to do both of those things at the same time. So this point, stomach 36, will fortify the spleen so that it's able to do its job optimally. All right, so that's stomach 36. Now, over time, as the spleen gets weak, then what happens is that if it can't do its job of transforming our food into vital nutrients, then what happens is that dampness and water will accumulate, and it weighs the body down. It weighs the body down physically, so you get swelling, bloating, you feel heavy, but it also weighs the body down mentally and emotionally. So you feel foggy-headed, you feel heavy-headed, lack of mental clarity. This is all happening when the spleen is weak and it can't transform fluids, and so fluids and dampness accumulate. So we're gonna do a point to help with that too. So spleen 9 is kind of a partner point to stomach 36. So here's stomach 36 on the outside of the tibia. Spleen 9 is about at that same level, just on the inside. So the tibia flares up like this at the top. We've got stomach 36 on the outside, spleen 9 on the inside. And again, you can measure from the calf's nose with your 4 fingers down. Right about there is spleen 9. And the best thing to do, again, is to feel around for a tender spot. Spleen 9 is very tender on a lot of people. It's pretty tender on me today. So you can press, you can rub in circles, you can do both of those at the same time. That feels really great. Can be a little tender, that's normal. So yeah, when dampness and fluids accumulate, this weighs you down. So we want to do some acupressure that's going to strengthen the spleen. That's what Stomach 36 does, and also get rid of the excess dampness and fluids. That's what Spleen 9 does. So these points work really well together. And then as that excess of dampness and fluids is transformed, then you have better mental clarity. We talk about, in Chinese medicine, we talk about the clear yang, and the clear yang is just qi that is clear, that needs to go up to the head so that your brain can do its function of mental processing. And so when we get rid of the dampness, then the clear yang can rise up to the head, and then your brain can do its job of thinking and mental processing. So again, here's Stomach 36 on the outside, Spleen 9 on the inside. You can do those. You can do this together. That works really well. So over time, if dampness continues to accumulate and it doesn't get transformed, then this impairs our capacity to think clearly. And so then we continue to overthink and we continue to worry more. And as we worry and overthink more, then this further weakens the spleen and it becomes a vicious cycle, as many things do in traditional Chinese medicine as it relates to the emotions and the physical body. They feed off of one another. They reinforce one another, but they can also weaken one another too. So when we're talking about the emotions, we can't just pay attention to the mental and emotional signs and symptoms. We have to take care of the physical body as well. And so that's why it's important to do points like this, like Stomach 36 and Spleen 9, because they strengthen the digestive system and transform the dampness, and then that has a positive impact on our mental and emotional state. So it's really important to take care of both in traditional Chinese medicine. So the next point I'm going to show you is on the foot, and this is Spleen 4. So let's see, let me tilt my camera. So Spleen 4 is located on the medial side of the foot, on the inside. So this spleen channel, let's see, I'm going to show you my foot. The spleen channel runs along this part of the foot. So in the traditional textbooks, it's described as the junction of the red and the white skin. So not everybody has red and white skin on their foot, but basically it's where the skin sort of changes color and texture along this medial side of the foot. So Spleen 4 is located just proximal to the head of this first metatarsal bone. So here is, you're going to feel a bump here at this first metatarsal bone. This is the bump on me. So I'm going to go just, did I say, I don't know if I said proximal, but I meant distal. So I'm going to go just distal to that. So towards the big toe, right there. And again, this point is tender on me. My spleen needs some attention, apparently. It's tender on a lot of people. So this is Spleen 4. So again, just distal here. There's a depression there, as there is with a lot of the acupuncture points. This point, I think, feels great to massage, even when it's tender. It just feels very therapeutic to me. This point strengthens the spleen. It calms the shen. And again, the shen is our spirit. And it also resolves damp. So it has those same functions as Stomach 36 and Spleen 9 of tonifying the spleen and resolving the dampness. And then it also has the additional benefit of calming the shen. It's a great point. I'm going to show you on my other foot. All right, here we go. So here's the head of the metatarsal bone, first metatarsal. Go just distal to that, so towards the big toe, there's a nice depression. So in addition to acupressure, another great tool that benefits the spleen is mindfulness, because mindfulness gives us an opportunity to just do one thing at a time. And like most of us, the spleen is not great at multitasking, and it's hard to do two things well at the same time. It burdens the spleen when we're trying to do something like think and eat at the same time. And right now we are living in a time of endless distraction. It's very easy to try to do multiple things at once, and most of us really can't pull that off. And when we're on screens a lot, on phones and computers, that is making a lot of demands on our spleen. So it's weakening the spleen, and especially when we're trying to engage in lots of mental energy at once and making different demands of our spleen. So what you want to do is you want to give your spleen the space to just do one thing at a time. So try not to do multiple tasks at once, especially if they're mental tasks. Try not to multitask. Try not to quickly task switch. If you're eating, just eat. If you're reading, just eat. Or if you're working, or just read. Or if you're studying or working on a project, give your spleen the space to just do that one thing, because it's going to do that one thing better than it would if it were trying to do multiple things at once. And when you do that, over time, it has a really net positive impact on the spleen. The spleen becomes stronger. You get more out of the food that you're eating, which again reinforces the spleen. And you will find that you have better mental energy as a result of that. You are able to concentrate more. You have more mental clarity, you're less distracted, and less worry as a result. So you want to be mindful in all of the things that you're doing, and especially think about how it impacts your digestion and your spleen. And our digestion is really the core of our day-to-day activities. We got to have good digestion in order to just get through the day. So to review, here are the points we talked about today. We did yin tang here on the forehead. Great point for mental clarity, any kind of emotional imbalance, but I love this one for worry and overthinking. Good to give yourself a mental break with yin tang. Then we've got stomach 36 and spleen 9 here on the lower leg on each side of the tibia. Stomach 36 on the outside, spleen 9 on the inside. They're both about the width of 4 fingers below the knee, the bottom edge of the kneecap. These two here. And then we got spleen 4 here on the medial inside of the foot. And you can see it's still red from where I was pressing earlier. I really love this point. I think I'm going to spend some more time massaging it today because it feels really good. So that's spleen 4. So those are our points for worrying and overthinking and tonifying the spleen and the stomach and the digestive system. So let's take a minute now that we have had a nice acupressure session. Let's check back in with our bodies and see how we're feeling. So just sit comfortably again, feet on the floor, and take some breaths. You can close your eyes if you like, or leave them open. I'm going to close my eyes for a couple of breaths. And just check in and see how your body's feeling now that we've done some acupressure. Maybe you're still feeling some energy around those points that we were massaging. I'm definitely still feeling some energy tingling and moving on my feet around spleen 4. And see if your digestive system feels any different. Maybe it feels a little lighter. Maybe you don't feel so heavy or bloated. Maybe if you were feeling full beforehand, massaging stomach 36 and spleen 9 can help move the digestive process along. I'm still feeling hungry, so I'm still gonna go eat something after this. But all in all, I feel really good after this session. So I hope you feel good as well. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions, please just let us know. We love doing these sessions with you, and we hope you have a great day, and we will see you again next week for Acupressure Wednesday. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.